Hey folks, howdy do, my friends. Well, I'm just coming to you today for a little chat because that's what I like to do. When I think of something like this, or when I'm inspired by things, by words and words that connect dots for the moment that they're connecting them, and then hopefully they're connected in my mind so that I can remember them if that matters. Who knows? Anyhow, it's very distracting when you can see yourself in the camera because it's fun and you just get lost in yourself sometimes. Not in yourself, but in the express seeing it. I mean, you don't look at yourself very much. Then there we go. Bob's your uncle. Anyways, so I wanted to talk and express and get your thoughts on this. I can obviously just look at my own life, but what I'd like to hear is how about you? How do you feel about this in your life? So I'm very thankful. I think it was Zach, and then Zach Pittman, and then another person recommended a book by Dr. John Sarno, and his work was on psychosomatic medicine or psychosomatic disorder. And basically, what that meant was that he was finding people, he was a physician, and he was finding people that were in pain, and that normal conventional treatment wasn't really making them better. And what he was also finding is that if people were getting better through a certain treatment, it was often negated by, or often the pain was moved to another area of the body, whether it be psychological or physical, or I guess in some way those two, and the many different things that are in those symptoms that are in those. So one thing that I read that I thought was really really kind of important and kind of like aha, right? Aha, when you have that kind of aha, it lights up and it becomes like bigger in your mind. It means like it comes up easier in me. And it was the fact that, the structural pain that we were feeling was not the issue, or like depression was not the issue. Depression causes somebody to act in a certain way, right? Or physical pain creates you to act in a certain way. And he goes as far as to say that trauma, or I want to call it trauma, but I think that's a really big word for saying something like catastrophic, something like trauma. But like, let's just say you were growing up as a child and you developed things, tendencies, ways of moving in this world that you don't even realize right now because it's unconscious, it's subconscious, it's the patterns and reactions that your body makes, because this is how the body works. I mean, to be consciously aware and control everything all at once. I mean, it's not the computing power of the conscious mind. From what I hear from Bruce Lipton and stuff like that, it's not even possible. It's much less. And so, because I like to go on those little detours, I don't know where I'm at right now. But ultimately, what I was getting at was that, oh, yes, that depression and these pains, they were not the issue. It was what that was causing them. And what was causing them to do depression, what causes, the symptoms of depression are the fact that I become very very painful with fatigue, very painful with not able to sleep. But what's really happening here is I'm psychologically distressed. I don't feel I have any purpose in the world. What's the point of living? And in those mindsets, if I say to myself, what's the point of living? What would that involve me doing in this physical world? Not much. Lying in bed, doing nothing. Because that's the general aura of my life inside myself and the way that I see it outside myself. And that is just depression providing its aroma to you, its essence to you. It's saying, here, I'm going to give you some lenses to look out at the world at. And for some people, depending on some points of their life, they fall into this through life events, through perhaps the old you falling away. This is kind of how I've experienced it, meaning, I'm wanting to let go in some way the old parts of me that I held on to. And when you let go of something that you were, you realize that what you were and the way that you acted was, let's give an example. If I have the feeling that I'm not good enough, and I become good enough by being by getting attention, by getting a validation, by getting shown love, which I don't think is bad. I think it's very inherent in us, but some of us don't feel the need that we're not good enough as is, that we have to prove ourselves to others, or to God or something like this. And I think this proving, this never-ending push can really make somebody that doesn't feel good enough deeply inside, that doesn't really realize it, it can push you to great lengths. And what might perhaps be a side effect of that is that you develop issues that you don't even like. You get cancer early, you start developing pain in the body, you get really, all of a sudden you just get down on life, or something happens and it breaks you and it opens you up to the unconscious almost. Perhaps not even consciously, but it opens up as in it starts becoming a physical manifestation of this world. It like bleeds out. The unconscious is like finally bleeding out. Because I do feel if you have an unconscious drive through not being good enough, then eventually the physical body will start to break down. I mean, again, it's a driver, and it can drive people to great success in their own life, not in worldly, in their own way. They're like, wow, look what I'm doing, and they become, and that's awesome, and they love it. I loved what I was doing. I loved it. I loved helping people, man. I love it, dude. So good, dude. But I think it's the motive. My motive was that I needed that validation. That I felt the need for some reason that I didn't want that validation anymore because it didn't feel natural in a way. I could be wrong. I could be wrong about my own self. My observations could be wrong, but ultimately I didn't feel comfortable with that notion, and I felt that I needed to go in and to feel good enough, I suppose, I was trying to find this, even if I might not have been saying that or understanding that within myself. And now that's what I'm working on, is just being good enough to just be me, more so. That what you say about me doesn't really impact me. I'm just like doing me, and I love going along with things and having fun together, and it's cool to give compliments. It's cool to see something in somebody and you just, hey, might not matter, but I just wanted to say I think that's pretty cool about you, whatever. Yeah, there's people I see, and I don't want to say like, I say I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing. It's cool to me. So thanks for being you. Being you. If we can just be us. Be us. Then and we can show appreciation by just saying, thank you for being you. Then I think this will be beautiful. And it's a lifelong journey. I know that. Anyhow, this video is gonna be 10 minutes. Peace.